Good afternoon, folks. I'd like to welcome you all to this session of Iowa Ideas. Today, this is session 3 of the Community Development Track titled Promoting Iowa in 2022. Today, we are pleased and delighted to have Julie Stowe, Associate Executive Director of Cedar Rapids Tourism, Jackie Ray, Executive Director of the Dyersville Economic Development Corporation, and Keith Ray, President and CEO of Travel Dubuque. Jackie and Keith are a husband and wife team, so we're extremely happy to get both of you on this call. We're really excited and interested to have a great discussion here. Just to kind of introduce the topic. Well, actually, why don't I give you folks a chance to really introduce yourselves and your experiences with this topic. Why don't, Julie, we can start with you.
Sure. So I'm a native Californian who's in Iowa by choice. So I was excited about 22 years ago, I was able to move here with my job, thinking that, oh gosh, I'll head back to the West Coast, and I never left because I love our community and our state so much. And for the last 5 years, I've been involved on the tourism side.
Wonderful. Jackie, how about you?
My name is Jackie Ray, and I have had the distinct pleasure of being involved in tourism and economic development since about 1991. And that was after I had met my husband and been introduced to the entire Field of Dreams phenomena. So that, of course, has followed me through the whole through my whole career. However, I'm also involved in a lot of the National Farm Toy Capital of the World experiences that you have here in Dyersville, and the economic development side with workforce development, some industrial park development, and also many things community development wise.
Great. And then Keith.
Well, I just been following my wife around for the last 33 years. So no, I've been blessed also to be involved with the in the industry for going on 34 years down a variety of different roles. So the last 18 with Travel Dubuque and all the different things that involves, from the individuals, families, groups, the different events, all the different activity that we bring to Dubuque and Dubuque County, and have been involved with the Field of Dreams since the beginning, and pretty much all aspects of that, from the Ghost Players, that's a baseball team, from all the different events out there through the years. So
Wonderful. And my name, of course, is Sam Edsel. I am Special Projects Editor here at the Gazette. To our attendees, just a reminder that you're welcome to submit questions for our panelists. We'd love to have you as part of this discussion. This session is being recorded for later viewing if you so wish. And with that, I think I'd just like to kick it off with kind of a general question that I'll pose to all three of you, which is, why is tourism such an important thing or aspect of economic development? Why is it? Why does it matter so much?
well, I'll start with that. I mean, I think, any community, you have to really look at what makes you unique in regards to what your ability is to bring, that type of significant impact in for your community, your region, and such. And if your area does have the ability to be designated as a tourism spot, to really look at that, work with that, and grow that, brings all that more activity to your community. And not only obviously the people coming in and going to the restaurants, the attractions, hotels and such, and the money that they leave behind, but also to really position yourself, and Jackie will speak to this, as a potential destination for people to come and build a business, live, work, and stay. So it's significant. If it's just another, for me, it's another card in a deck for communities to really become the best version of themselves.
Sure, I agree with everything Keith said. It's a cycle. A visitor comes and hopefully they choose to come back, and maybe they'll decide to live here, and maybe they'll decide to grow a business here. It's just something that you can continue to build upon, and we can't sustain ourselves in a bubble. We need outside visitors to come in and share their ideas, and as Keith said, leave their money behind.
And have a good time while they do it.
Exactly.
And that's one of the beautiful things about tourism is people are coming, they're in a good mood. I mean, you're catching them on the high, they're off work, they're, seeing something that they either haven't seen or have a good experience seeing in the past. So you're catching them on a high. So it's your opportunity as a community, to keep them on that level and to keep showing off. So, I mean, it's psychological when they come, if you can keep them on that high about what you've got going on in everything, and how they first enter your community, and obviously the experiences that they have with those frontline employees, but how your yards look. I can't tell you the number of times that somebody has commented to me that, my gosh, everyone keeps their yards up so nicely in your community. I mean, that matters. So it's a great opportunity.
Right. And as also has already kind of been mentioned a little bit, the places that are make good travel destinations, people might also want to put down roots. They can see themselves as part of that community. And I know that, growing the state of Iowa is something that's a bit of a challenge, because, Iowa's population is growing, but not quite as fast as some other states. We have workforce needs here. So we really want to see more people moving to the state. And so, in a way that tourism can be, not just come spend your money here, but also like an advertisement for the state as a whole.
Well, I think, the last two, we've been extremely lucky, not only as a community, as a region, as a state, with the Major League Baseball game that was featured here both in 2021 and 2022. From a statewide perspective, I mean, you could not have had a better marketing tool than what that was. So that really corresponds exactly what you were talking about. If you can showcase your area like that to not only a national but an international crowd, and really show people what it's like, for a certain extent, and our rural heritage and all the other aspects of Iowa, that's significant, and that's tourism. That's our job, and I think for the most part we do a really good job with it. We could do better, including the state, but it's a work in progress, and it's just it's a unique opportunity.
I think that everybody is kind of realizing that and the importance of that. I know the state has hopped on several years ago, this whole placemaking, identity. Most of their ads, didn't feature people in them. And so it's hard for others to envision themselves there. Well, that has all changed. Now you see people out kayaking in some of our rivers. You see people climbing in our parks. You see people playing baseball games or visiting the Field of Dreams when the Ghost players are there. So that whole active culture lets people feel that I could be there. I can do the things that I like to do in that state. And then, as Keith mentioned, to have 6 million people see 4 hours of that on Fox Sports, people that didn't have any idea where Iowa was, or it's always a flyover state, or that's where they make potatoes, or is it corn, or whatever. So it's corn, as you can see.
And it all starts with a visit. I've seen it within my own family. I was the lone person who came to Iowa, and now my brother and sister-in-law live here. They moved here from San Diego. My folks are here now from Orange County. Recently, my nephew and his wife chose to make Quad Cities home. So it's exciting, and it all starts with a visit.
Yeah, and you get to bring a lot of people to the state, and through your job, and I know we talked a little bit about the kind of reactions that they have once they see Cedar Rapids and maybe further around Iowa. Talk a bit about the reactions that you get from these visitors and what that might say about how we can build and grow our communities.
Sure. I always say I wish everyone in our communities and in the state could see the reaction of first-time visitors. And I know Jackie and Keith get to do this as well. I'll be hosting some meeting planners starting tonight, and they're coming from all over the country. And they're amazed. They're amazed at how beautiful our airport is and that it's easy to get downtown. We were joking earlier as we have an attendee coming that was coming in at 5 o'clock and was worried about traffic. And we got a nice little chuckle over that because we said, don't worry, it's not going to make a difference. So it just from that, and then just they're surprised at the culinary scene, at what there is to do, at how progressive the state is, and that our communities are, the arts and culture. And then we have, accessibility and affordability. I think that's come into play a lot. The fact that we're regionally located, people can drive here, but they can fly here as well. It's convenient. And I really think people are looking at those second and third tier cities, especially as we've come through the pandemic. It's really shining a light on us and giving us a lot of opportunity.
Right, because you don't have to live in Chicago to do the kind of work that you want to do anymore. You can live in Cedar Rapids, you can live in Dyersville, you can live in a number of small communities and pursue the career that you want and have the community that you want to.
Mhm. I think that's a really good point. The pandemic taught us that you can choose your place, and you can have the placemaking first and have your career in whatever place you choose. And then that's good for the other businesses, because usually there's a trailing spouse or something that can fill positions also in the community. We've had quite a few people, a lot from Illinois, but other areas, Oklahoma, that just kind of chose Dyersville to live since COVID.
Now, I know we've talked a little bit about, or it's been mentioned, the Major League Baseball game at the Field of Dreams. And I wonder, Keith and Jackie, if you could just kind of talk about how that came about. I know this year was the second one. How did that get put together, and what kind of has it meant for the Field of Dreams and for Iowa?
Well, Jack, I'll start, and you can jump in here at any point, because this really is between Jackie, myself, and Mick Mickle, who's the city manager for Dyersville. We've been very heavily involved since the beginning with the whole Major League Baseball. Their initial conversations and then the actual making those games a reality. And it's been a real, honestly, for both Jackie and myself, and I know Mick, it's been just an amazing experience. Major League Baseball has been just some of the best group that I've ever worked with in my 30-some years. Very professional, very much in tune to the fan experience, and really, just making it a great atmosphere for everybody. But it really started, honestly, back in 2014. It was the 25th anniversary of the Field of Dreams. Major League Baseball Network was out there filming. Bob Costas, Kevin Costner, Ray Liotta, and a lot of the stars from the movie. And the gentleman that was head of the production crew for Major League Baseball, when he got done, went back to New York, and a little bit after that, he got promoted, and then talked to the commissioner. And at that point, Major League Baseball was looking to fan out some different, that they were going to Fort Hood down in North Carolina to do a one-off game down there. And they thought about, what about doing this? He brought it up. What about doing this at the Field of Dreams? I think it was about 2015, they sent their production company out that they work with to really look at, could they do a Major League Baseball game on the original site? And you know, you've been out to the field. It's an amazing, it's an amazing spot, but it's not conducive to a Major League Baseball game. And they quickly realized that, and then went behind the corn out in the back area, actually where I years ago had a corn maze back there, and said this would be the spot that we want to build it. So Jack, you want to take it from there?
Well, and they picked the right spot, obviously, with the sunsets and all of that you saw on TV. But we did start working with them 2014, really kind of got heavy into it in 2015 and thereafter, with the studies that we needed to do, the DNR work that we needed to clear. And then obviously built it, and it was happening in 2020, and then it didn't. And I can remember Keith and I were standing up, the production company said, well, let's, come out here, let's, take a last look before we start dismantling the whole thing. And it was very sad because they had built a beautiful set, and they promised to be back the following year. So we have had 2 games. We're still working with them almost on a weekly basis. We have some contact with them. And we have a group put together that is building that stadium, at least a portion of that stadium, in a permanent fashion so that we can hold, multiple MLB games as well as other other events that might go on. And we've been contacted by a lot of different people, different organizations, wanting to hold events there. It would, be a really special place to do that. So we're pretty heavy into the design phase of this new stadium. And we've got a 10-member board that includes Frank Thomas and Rick Heidner and Dan Evans, kind of the crew from Go the Distance, the majority owners of the actual movie site, and then as well as some Dubuque County and City of Dubuque, and Keith and Mick and myself, all kind of working together to make this multi-year and long-term stadium a reality for the county and state. I mean, we think that it will certainly be a boon for everybody to continue that type of platform that we have with Major League Baseball in tourism, workforce development, all things economic development.
Yeah, and it's such a cool sight to see, the Major League Baseball players having such a good time while they're there too. Yeah, like just having fun and enjoying the space, and signing autographs and then getting other people's autographs because it's the field is one of those kind of iconic things about Iowa. You think of that, like you think of American Gothic and the Music Man, but like the Field of Dreams is just so classically Iowa. And it's been embraced both by the people who live here and the people who visit here. And Keith, kind of as you were saying, this is an opportunity that came about because the right people came and they saw the side of our state, and we were able to show them how great it is. And
Yeah, that's a great point, and it really, if we could speak to anything, when opportunity knocks and you've got a chance to do something, you've got to step up, and no pun intended, you step up to the plate and hopefully you get a base hit, and hopefully it's a grand slam like that 2021 game was. But and the community in the region has, and in the state has, they've really, stepped up. would Major League Baseball or any other organization had needed something, needed this, needed that, that they really rallied in and provided that. And that's, I think, which Jackie and I are so proud of, because like any event, like anything, it takes a lot to make it a reality. And it looks flawless on TV, or if you're sitting in the stands, but we all know behind the scenes it's not that way. But it really came off well. And I think, once again, from a state perspective, what a tremendous infomercial. Both Jackie and I have friends like Julie does too, all over the world. And we had numerous people reached out to us that were from Iowa, don't live here, but they said, I've never been more proud to be from Iowa than I was that night. And I think that's something all of us can be very grateful for. So
I think it's important too to embrace your simplicity, and embrace the great things about the players in 2021, especially. I can remember several comments. They were supposed to be secretly routed through Farley, Iowa, which is just 4 miles down the road from Dyersville. And that word got out somehow. But anyway, I'm kind of glad it did, because the citizens of Farley made signs, lined the streets, the buses came through, and, they couldn't believe it that, an entire community would come out and hold up signs just to watch them go by. They were taking video of all of the people on the street, taking video of them. So in that light, it's kind of embrace what you've got, not try and be somebody different. Also, with the actual Field of Dreams property, we full well intend to embrace what we've got with the simplicity of the actual movie site, and make sure that that experience isn't ruined. And yet you can still have sustainability and all of these other higher profile events in another area. So we're kind of trying to keep the best of both worlds. Obviously, there will be some things that change, but one thing for the positive is we now will have water and sewer out there, so we have a better fan experience than porta potties. So that's everybody that says don't change anything. Well, how about the bathrooms? Sorry.
And that's a great point that you made about embracing what you've got. And Julie, I think one thing that you mentioned, that we talked about is we've got a lot, and it's a lot of different things, because not only do we have these iconic places like the Field of Dreams, but we also have great theater, we have great events, we have great music and food. And that's something that a lot of people might not think of when they think of Iowa.
Absolutely. And I mean, Jackie hit on the most important thing. The number one thing I hear from visitors is what the impact that our residents have on them. It's who serves them at the restaurant, the folks they interact with at a theater or a museum. It is that Iowa nice, that experience that just connects with people. And that is the number one thing I hear when people visit or are looking to do an event here. And then it's just about locals embracing who we are too. Like Jackie and Keith have both mentioned as well, it's embracing who we are, knowing it, and being proud of it, because outside visitors see it and they love it. They love the Bloomsbury Farm experience. They love our theaters. We have the International Jugglers Association that was just here this summer, that had been back for the second time and is looking to come back again. And they have never repeated any other community. And they say, they're like, it's because we love your community so much. And we love performing at the historic Paramount Theater. And we love the restaurants and that we can be downtown. It's the warm welcome we get here. And that's something I think as our communities, we need to embrace and be proud of.
We do have a question from one of our viewers. This question is from Linda, who asks, Iowa has wonderful communities and the fall is amazingly beautiful. young people seek outdoor activities and recreation, how can we improve the state's water quality that is deteriorated to the point that nearly every body of water is restricted? I'm not sure if we can talk necessarily about how to improve water quality, but what role does outdoor recreation, particularly on waterways, play in Iowa tourism? Keith, I know you had mentioned the river cruises and the Mississippi being low. You think you could start there?
Yeah, well, I'll speak to that. I mean, because we see it here on a yearly basis, so the outdoor activities, specifically since COVID, coming out of COVID through 2020, the county parks, state parks, everything, the bike trails were, they probably doubled, tripled in regards to the usage. And I would agree 100% what the individual that put that question in. We promote heavily here because where we're located, the upper Midwest Mississippi Valley is absolutely beautiful. And specifically this time of the year with the fall foliage, you look at the topography up here in eastern Iowa, it's gorgeous. And we get a lot of visitors that take advantage of that. And whether or not they're hiking, they're biking, they're going out on utilizing our streams, with canoes, kayaks and such, that's something that we do a lot of. And hopefully that's going to continue to grow. And I do agree, with the individual that sent the question, anything we can do to continue to improve that water quality is significant. And I do know that there's different, some different bills, different type of support for that down at Des Moines. And hopefully that's something that we will see come to be a reality here down the road.
I would also encourage you to take a look at Impact 7G. Go to their website. They, you can do it if you're not on the Missouri or Mississippi River too. If you have streams that go through your community, we did what was called a Bear Creek restoration project. It wasn't a simple project. It took quite a bit, but to do just that, improve our water quality, improve our stormwater detention, improve, make the stream accessible to tourists for, as in terms of a water trail. And I think that's kind of a big buzzword right now in the state is let's get the recreational aspect of our waterways accessible to people. So I would encourage you, I think there's a video on that kind of explains it a little bit, the engineering and the collaboration that went on to do that through Impact 7G. I know we've done a lot of work with them on stream restoration and how to improve our water quality.
And Julie, I know that there's been this a fairly large water recreational project that's kind of in the works here in downtown Cedar Rapids. Is that are you familiar with that? Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. I know that the Friends of Cedar Lake and the Connect CR projects we're excited for those to move along because there will be kayaking and canoeing and those kind of things involved because our water is important and those recreational activities are critical for tourism along with, again, our trails for hiking and biking. So we're eager for those recreational areas to get finished so that we all can enjoy them safely.
And then speaking of being safe, another thing that we've discussed is how a lot of people are looking to visit smaller locations and aren't really or maybe a little hesitant with the pandemic and everything to go to bigger cities like Chicago, like New York, like Los Angeles, Miami, just to try and stay in a less populated setting. And and maybe the trend towards outdoor activities kind of plays into that too. People are kind of changing a little bit the kinds of places that they may want to visit, the kind of activities they may want to do while they're vacationing. Keith, I think you'd said that one of the bigger things that's come back lately has been a lot of the outdoor recreation when it comes to tourism.
Yeah, well, we've seen significant growth in it, in all honesty. It always was there, but I think, with the pandemic, with the, we took that component away. You couldn't gather indoors for quite a while, so the ability to go at that point to go to large concerts or any large type activity you couldn't do. So people gravitated, more so to the outdoors, getting out on the trails, biking, hiking, kayaking, canoeing and such. And we've seen that continue because, that is, the younger demographic does really, gravitate towards that. But even people my age, like to get out and take advantage of the nature and what we have to offer and such. So that's something I think we're going to see continue to grow. I think that's something we've been lucky here in Dubuque. We've got a very dedicated volunteer group that has made significant growth in the mountain bike trails. And we get people come from all over the Midwest to take advantage of that. And once again, we're lucky with our topography. It's rather hilly in some areas. We're able to make a pretty diverse, unique atmosphere for them. So it really, once again, it's where you're at, what your community or your region has, what can you do to really, take advantage of that, and market it and get that, get it out there. So
it's also very exciting to kind of unite as an entire state and, promote the opportunities that we have. A lot of times we're overlooked, obviously we don't have an ocean, we don't have mountains, but we really can unite as a state and have a very nice package for somebody that wants to travel. And I think with the state kind of combining their tourism efforts and not replicating, combining them into one group, the ITIP group, I think that's going to pay dividends in the future to kind of have us all singing from the same songbook.
Well, because Cedar Rapids definitely reaped benefits of Field of Dreams and that game, and that's what you want. Here they had this amazing activity and was on the national stage. And then there were people so they stayed longer days and spent extra days in Cedar Rapids or in Dubuque or other communities as well. So we really benefit each other.
And then you have the Colonels playing a game there. You have other, small local teams. And so it's not just Major League Baseball, but it's, other partnerships as well. So how do we go about doing that, sort of marketing ourselves outside of the state? What kinds of, how do we reach people and share our story?
So much. I mean, marketing has changed so much for people within my industry. When I got involved, years ago, it was billboards, radio, and if you could afford television, that was, their print too. Now so much is gravitated to social media, your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook component, really showcasing, to these individuals that are out there, what is a unique opportunity, what is unique about your area and such. And like I talked with you the other day, I think for us, both for Dubuque County, Cedar Rapids and such, we're blessed with where we are located. You look at, we're within easy driving distance of major markets, within 4 or 5 hours, you look at the population base that can come here. Julie talked about early on what she heard about the Iowa Nice. We hear all the time. That's one of the biggest selling points is people love how friendly, the people are when they come, restaurants, hotels and such. Also the affordability, also the safety of it and such. And, just the ability, like I've said different times, we're not Las Vegas. We're not Orlando, Florida. we're a tier 3 community or region in Iowa, in the Midwest, but it's a great destination. Weekend getaway for families or couples and such. And that's what you have to embrace, and that's what you market, and then you push it out, like I just talked about. And I've got a great marketing team. They're younger, they understand all that stuff. I rely on them to do that. But they're good at it. So
Well, and it's also important. I think every corner of this, every part of our state has that opportunity. Up in the Northwest, you got Okoboji, man, all those, there's so many beautiful areas in the state and access to major markets. And you just need to collaborate with those and try your best to share the wealth, to have everybody share our visitors.
Absolutely. And again, along with all that social media going on, it's just the pride of our residents. We need our residents to share their experiences living here and why they've chosen Iowa as home. Again, I think our lack of pride can get in our way a little bit, and we need to be proud. I'm proud to live here. I love what we have going on. I was chuckling. I was hosting some clients recently, and I took them to a performance at Theater Cedar Rapids, and actually got in a semi-fun spirited argument with one of our clients because he was convinced that it was a touring company that performed Sound of Music. Say no, those are local volunteers that have day jobs that perform just out of passion for their community, and he absolutely would not believe it. He wouldn't believe it. So I love those stories.
Yeah.
As someone who moved here from California, I mean, that's probably, your personal experiences are probably something that you share pretty often with, people that might want to come and visit. That sort of first impression, and how it really kind of can change your idea of what Iowa is and what's really like to live here.
Absolutely. I feel fortunate, and I love the affordability of living here. I love that on any given weekend, there is more to do than I have time to do. Again, getting to have visitors here this weekend, and I will not be able to take them to do everything, but they're not gonna leave hungry, that's for sure. No one ever leaves Iowa hungry. We'll definitely enjoy the culinary scene, and we'll enjoy some of the arts and the museums, and it's a thrill to do it every time and get to see first timers' eyes light up when they see what other communities have to offer, and then they're just blown away that they're able to do it so affordably.
Yeah, affordability is something that's definitely come up a lot, and it seems extremely important these days. It's a pretty strong selling point, that you can do a lot for a very reasonable amount. Uh, uh, like some of those river cruises, Keith. You can get a full meal and 2 hours of fun for pretty affordable price.
Yeah.
And do some things that are maybe not your traditional vacation. You're not getting that cookie cutter experience. You're getting something that's unique.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's an excursion, boats has amazed me, the growth that we've seen, coming out of COVID. I would have thought that would have been one of the last things that came back, but actually it's just booming, and people enjoy it. I mean, they literally come from all over the world to be able to, get on one of it, because we've got a variety of different boats. You've got the Twilight, which is an old style 1800 type paddle wheel out of LeClaire, to the Viking Cruise Line, which is a state of the art, basically floating hotel going up the river. So you can really take advantage of, what, sits your budget and what you're looking for. But and for us, it's awesome because it brings another avenue to bring visitors into our community and get to showcase what we have here, within Dubuque and the tri-state area. So it's great.
We have another question from one of our viewers. How can residents be a part of these promotional strategies? What can we do to help tell Iowa's story?
Well, I think we've both, Julie has touched on it quite a bit about how important the residents are of a community. The businesses lining your main street, making sure you're welcoming, or at least, if you can't put a sign up or something, we had asked all of our businesses when MLB was here to welcome them on their signage. And, obviously they did that, but even the day to day, we're glad you're here. Look at our beautiful community, whatever you can do to improve that. And that, waving to people, or if a bus group goes by, make sure you're waving to them. That goes a long way. People are like, oh my God, what, they look up, they're not looking at their phones, or, they're not, blind to what's going on here. So I think, though, I mentioned keeping your yards clean. Obviously your frontline employees. I know Dubuque had done a really nice full program where they went out and did training with all of the frontline employees on, how to show off your community better. But I think, Julie, you talked to that quite a bit too, and how your residents make an impact.
Absolutely. And I think it's important for us locally to support our attractions and restaurants and activities as well, especially going into winter. I know it's easy to hole up and stay home, but just to maybe make a really concerted effort that, okay, let's go out to dinner and support a restaurant that we've never been to before, because all of our communities have choices. So go try something new, or gosh, let's go walk through Bruce Moore at Christmas. Let's go to a show at Paramount Theater or McGrath or the Arena. There's so much all of our communities have to offer, and we need to support our locals that are spending their time and efforts in making these activities a success for visitors, but they're also for locals to enjoy, and we should really be supporting and enjoying those activities as well.
Yeah, and I'll just echo real quickly, we look at the local residents as our best salespeople, honestly. When they have their guests, family, relatives, employees come into the community, and they can take them out, they can take them to the restaurants, they can take them to the attractions, they can really showcase what you have to offer. Those people are going to go back, and they're going to tell their friends, their coworkers, that you should go to Dubuque, Iowa, or Cedar Rapids, because it's amazing. We have this, and hopefully they do. So, yeah, that's the best thing, is be a salesperson.
And the ask a local, I'm just thinking of this, and I know, Keith, you had done this in one of your travel guides. Through each section, you had ask a local, and they just went out and got random people to answer a question that a tourist might have, or like, where would you take somebody to, if they wanted an outdoor activity, where would you take them? I think that's important for us to make sure that our local community knows what you have in place, and also that we're listening to them about what they may like. As you are in community development, I know a lot of times, we put an extra wide sidewalk or an extra wide trail, and all the citizens were all upset about, why is that trail so wide? And now they love it because they can, push strollers and have their kids all around them when they're walking down the trail, or whatever it is. I think that it's important to kind of survey your residents to find out what makes them happy about living in your community.
One topic that we haven't touched on just yet is public-private partnerships, and how important those are to growing your communities and creating opportunities, to create spaces for people to come and visit and recreate. What are some examples of those that you've seen in the communities that you guys are representing?
I'll speak to that real quick. the best example by far, I think one of the better examples of that in the entire state of Iowa is the Port of Dubuque, right outside my window here. That was started 20 years ago. The community was lucky enough to get a Vision Iowa grant from the state. That $40 million has transformed this entire port into $500 million worth of investment. Really, that was the kicking point for Dubuque, the energy and everything that happened down there with the River Museum and the Grand River Center and everything else, then generated up into Main Street, and we've seen significant growth there down the Millwork District. It really, that public-private partnership, which was significant, really transformed this community into a major destination. We're lucky enough now per year to welcome over 2 million people a year here from all over. And tourism, which you talked about at the beginning, tourism is a major economic impact here for our community. And the elected officials recognize it. They've seen what that private-public partnership does. And we continue to have significant growth with that. So.
And I think you can have that on a huge scale like Keith was talking about, or you can have it on a very small scale. We've done like a downtown facade improvement program where the city will match 50-50 on certain improvements in your downtown facade. Now, obviously they have to budget each year, and so it may only be 2 buildings a year. I mean, that's kind of the pace that we're trying to make it on, but you've got your building owners investing in it, you've got the city investing in it, and at the end of the day, you have a much improved downtown, kind of the heart of your community. So it can be, and that maybe is a $25,000 investment versus, the multi-million-dollar investment. So you can have those all up and down the line.
For us, I can't help but think of flood protection. That was so critical to our community, and we need to be able to protect Czech Village and Newbo and both sides of the river. And having that protection has helped us rebuild and keep things moving.
And it's kind of, its own engine in a way that, if you get the business community involved, if you get local governments involved and they work together, those changes can move the needle, and then that in turn, spurs more people to come and visit, and more improvements across the board. It kind of sounds like we're all growing together.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're getting close, I think, to the end of our conversation here. I think I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to kind of share your final thoughts on this topic, and maybe where you think we're going, what you think the future holds for tourism in Iowa and growth in our communities. Julie, we can start with you.
Oh gosh.
Oh, sorry. Let's start with Keith. Keith,
Yeah,
I think you have to leave real
yes.
soon.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, and it's been a pleasure to be on the panel with Julie and my beautiful wife, Jackie. And I just, I've been blessed to be in. I feel I don't go to a job any day. I love what I do. We've got a unique opportunity, to really showcase. I'm very proud of Iowa, very proud of the area I live, and this gives us an opportunity to be able to showcase that to people not only nationally but internationally. And I think tourism, as anything, continues to evolve. And I think you really have to, if you're an individual, an organization, a destination, a community, really unique. I'm very big on this. So what makes you unique? What separates you from a different restaurant, a different community, a different state, and then really highlight that and push that out and grow that. And I think we've done a great job with that here. And I think that's something that we're going to see continue to grow, through the years and such. So.
Thank you.
One of the things that I would say is, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, go ahead, Jackie.
I would just say kind of embrace what you've got, embrace what's hot, embrace what's bringing people to your community, what, and a little bit selfishly, this MLB opportunity that we have to continue to grow the entire state, at least the brand recognition that we have, and collaboration with your neighbors, collaboration with the entire state. We have a new opportunity kind of moving forward as one state to really showcase, and it's all about the people.
They've really hit everything embracing our strengths, collaborate things, and just taking pride in who we are and being proud of what we have to offer, because guests are looking and they're having a great experience. So continue to give them that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think those are all very great points, and thank you both, and thank you to Keith. You can pass the word along, Jackie, for being for being part of Iowa Ideas in 2022, and thank you again to all of our viewers. I appreciate your questions, and look forward to you in participating in more sessions throughout the rest of today and tomorrow. Let's see here. The next session in this track is an update on broadband in the community development track. That will begin at 3:15, so we look forward to continuing these conversations.